Mom, I really hate that I have brown eyes. My sister has the most beautiful green eyes. I mean, she's gorgeous. And oh my goodness, she has curly black hair. Look at me, Mom. I have brown hair, mousy brown, straight hair. I have brown eyes. I'm so ugly. What in the world are you going to do to help me? And she's 6. Really? You just have to look at her and say, honey, if I could change this for you, I would. I would if I could, but I can't. Welcome to Paint a Beautiful Picture. Some things we can change. We can. They say, oh, Mom, I hate pink flowers on my wallpaper. Okay, great. We'll paint over it. What color do you want? Purple. Oh, purple, huh? The great news is paint is reasonably inexpensive and you can always go back over it. No joke. That one's easy. But they hate their straight brown, muddy brown hair. There's not a lot you can do. Yeah, I know you can get them a permanent so it's a little curlier. By the time they're even 12 and 13 nowadays, I see them dye their hair aqua blue and fluorescent orange. Okay, a little bit you can do. But honestly, the color of their eyes till they're old enough to wear contacts, and even then, some people can't tolerate contacts, there are some things you're not going to be able to change. You have to really help your child learn how to accept what cannot be changed. And heaven's sakes, there is a lot of stuff in this world that cannot be changed. A baby is actually born with an IQ. That's not how smart they are. It's the potential they have to learn. Some kids have an amazing intelligent quotient at birth. Some don't. It's a fact. You're not going to change it. I will say this, if you don't nurture and nourish them properly, you can reduce it. But there are very few things you can do to increase it. You can enhance what they have. You can give them a burning desire to learn, but you cannot change it. So why bemoan what you cannot change? Well, the better question is why not? Because that's what we humans do. We gripe and complain and cry and whine and fuss about all these things we cannot change. If you doubt it, listen to people on a really rainy day all over the city. They're crying and fussing and moaning about the weather. Can you change the weather? Not even a little bit. It's one of the stupidest things to waste your time whining and crying and complaining about. You can't change it, so give it up. Accept what you cannot change. It's rainy, buy an umbrella. And oh my word, if you're a little kid, go play in the puddles. Seriously, there are some things you cannot change. You have a child and she wants to be a dancer in the worst possible way, but she has 2 left feet. The girl has no rhythm. She has no sense of the music. She has no grace. You can take her to dance classes for 10 years, but it doesn't mean you're going to turn her into a swan. Some people really don't have it. You have this skinny, undernourished little boy at 10 or 12, like I'm talking stick skinny, Captain America before the Great Transformation skinny. And he really says, Mom, I'm going to be a linebacker. Well, I don't care how hard he works at this. If he's born with a build that's going to be tall and thin, he's not going to be a linebacker. There are things we really cannot change. We cannot change our body shape. We cannot change our height. Heaven knows there are certain persons, and I'm not being in any way, shape, or form prejudicial. I'm stating facts. Some Asian people and some Latino people who have literally put themselves on a modified stretcher in order to gain an inch or two so they could be on the police force in LA. It's a true fact. It's not any kind of an unkind statement. It's some people will go to great lengths, pardon the pun, in order to get taller. But we are as tall as we're going to be. We have the body build that we have. We have the complexion that we have. In spite of all the tanning products, tanning salons, spray tans, etc., when someone looks at certain parts of your body, they're going to still see your true color. That's what you have. That's what you have to work with. You have a certain level of intelligence. Your eyes are a certain color. Your hair is curly, or it's stick straight. It's fire engine red, or it's dirty dishwater blonde. You don't have long fingers. You have these stubby little fingers, but you really wanted to play the piano, but you can't even reach a full octave on the keys. You really wanted to be a dancer. You wanted to be a great equestrian. You wanted to become a doctor, but you could never pass the exams, even though you tried them 3 times. Every single time you failed. You wanted to be an airline pilot, but you have terrible vision and you can't do it unless you have 20/20 vision. That's how it is. There are so many things that we cannot change. And we need to help ourselves understand that. And we need to help our children really get a hold of that. If I could, I would, but I can't. I can't. Every single one of us has limitations. We really do. We need to realize that. Sometimes those limitations are put in place by others. I can honestly tell you, I think if I would have had a strongly encouraging, supportive family, chances are really good I would have been a doctor, at least a veterinarian, but actually probably an outright doctor. So nobody ever encouraged me about a single solitary thing ever. They were rude and insulting and abusive, and that limitation was a part of my life. Would I have changed what family I had or what parents I had or some of the influences I had? I can admit to you there were moments in my life I probably would have. Today, now that I'm older, I accept the broad picture of my life and the limitations and the lack of scope some of that brought to me. It's absolutely true. So nowadays, I really say, even if I could go back and change a whole bunch of things in my life, I wouldn't do it because who I am today is a direct result of so many of those influences and things that went on. The point being this: you don't get to change who your mom and dad are. There are literally people who've divorced themselves from their parents in their teen years. But genetically, you take a swipe inside of their mouth, and guess what? Yep, that's your daddy, kid. Yep, that's your mama. For real, you can't change that. You really cannot. You cannot change your basic, essential, intelligent level. So if you're a genius or you're not, that's part of what you're given. You cannot change your essential body type. You really and truly cannot. Cannot change your coordination level. If you're hyper coordinated, hallelujah, you got that gift. If you aren't, accept it because no one's going to change it for you. You can do certain activities that build a level of gracefulness in you, but that natural, smooth, lithe, beautiful, graceful look, yeah, that's if you don't have it, you really don't have it. If you're born deaf, that's what you are. Someone can put a cochlear implant, you will hear some things, but you will never hear music the way everyone else hears it. And any parent would look at their child and say, if I could change this, I would. But I can't. If you were born blind, or you had a terrible illness, or a tragic accident, and now you are blind, I promise you, there are people who love you. If they could, they would change it, but they can't. We actually need to be able to look at our child and tell them, if I could, I would, but I can't. They need to know and understand our limitations. We need to accept our own limitations. We need to help them learn how to accept theirs. There's an amazing young man who has no arms and no legs. He was born that way. But he has the most amazing attitude. And he goes and talks to kids in schools. He's just an astounding individual. He chose the one thing he had control over, his attitude and his sense of humor. And he's an astounding human being. He's married. He has children. Because of his great attitude, he has a beautiful wife. He didn't stay home and lock him in the house and go, I don't have any arms. I'll never be able to do anything. I don't have any legs. I'm never going to be able to go anywhere. This guy goes around the world speaking to people because he can. He took what he had and he did something with it. It's a great lesson for every single one of us. Instead of having your child focus on all the things they can't do, all the things they don't like, all the things they aren't any good at, encourage them to focus on everything they have, everything they are good at, and all the things that they can do. If the very best your child can do is C work and he carries a C plus average, man, you better praise that kid to the hilt. If he's capable of getting straight A's because he's brilliant and he's lazy as all get out and you let him get away with that and all he ever gets is C's, then don't do that. Really, get on his back till he does better. but the child who honestly is trying hard but not excelling. And that's who they are. Accept that, praise that, encourage them to do their very best. All of us, if we could change some things for our kids because it's heartbreaking to them or difficult, we would, but we can't. I'm going to put this into a social setting for you. There was a young woman and she really wanted to go home to homecoming with this particular young man. He didn't like her. No matter what she did to get noticed by him, he never noticed her. She was really devastated when he did this huge big scene for this kind of cutesy girl that was her friend, with a big sign, "I want you to go to homecoming with me." And he had balloons and flowers and the whole thing. She went home and told her mom, she goes, "No one's ever going to love me. Blank doesn't love me, so nobody ever will." Her mom said, "You are a really beautiful young woman, and he's an idiot for not noticing you. If I could change that, if I could make him really see you, I would, but I can't. And really, I don't think he deserves you." In a few short days, a really sweet guy she never noticed before asked her to homecoming. They had a wonderful time. Actually, they dated for quite a number of years. I don't know that they got married because I've lost touch, but they dated. The key is you cannot change the way that other people act towards your kids. If other kids betray them, lie about them, mean girls act like jerks to them, the wrong guy, is paying all this attention to them and they don't like that guy, and the guy they really like won't even look at them twice, you really can't change that. You genuinely cannot. And so you get them to accept themselves as they are, recognize that honestly, somebody will ultimately love them for themselves. And honey, if I could change this for you, I would, but I can't. You're teaching your child. There are just things in the world you don't have control over. You can't fix them. You can't change them. The things we can, and I hate to say this because for some people, even this doesn't work, but go on a diet and lose 10 pounds. Some people, no matter how hard they diet and how much they exercise because of health reasons or literally their basic shape, they're pretty much going to be that size. That's the way it is. They're short and kind of chubby and they hate it. That's who you are. Learn to love and accept who you are. There are some things that just aren't going to change. My question for you is, how good are you at accepting yourself? The non negotiables, the thing you just can't change. Do you accept that? Like, okay, it's a part of who I am. And that's perfectly all right. I'm really an attractive, lovely, good person. That's okay. If you are really not okay with your own self, it's going to be awfully hard to teach your child to accept the unchangeable things and be okay with it. Honey, if I could change that for you, I would, but I can't. Help your child come to terms with those kinds of things in their life. They will be a healthier, more well adjusted, content human being living comfortably inside of their own skin because you taught them. Some things you just can't change, and it's okay. I hope that you have a really great day today. Enjoy your time with your children. I'll look forward to seeing you soon on Paint a Beautiful Picture. You may find additional information on our paintabeautifulpicture.com website. Additionally, you may watch me on Rumble, and you may also listen to a podcast on Buzzsprout or Spreaker, all under the name Paint a Beautiful Picture. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. You may subscribe, and if you are interested in receiving notifications, please hit the notifications button.